Hi everyone, my name is Darlene Banta and I'm a developer on Mobile Responder. I'm just going to walk through a brief overview of how to configure it and kind of the underworking parts, some of the databases, some of the services that we use in Mobile Responder. So to start with, the problem that we're trying to solve with Mobile Responder is how do we get the information from the dispatch center on the left out to the field, the guy on the right. So the way that we solved this problem is that we created some new mobile services that is the interface between these two pieces. And these mobile services interact with data services, which is the existing responder server piece. And then we've added in two more databases to complete the picture. So we have our task database, which is a SQL 2008 database. And then we have a local database on the client to support disconnected scenarios. So an incident is reported to the dispatch center, and the dispatcher will enter the information, and that information will go into data services, and then mobile services will automatically pick up that there's a new incident in data services, take that incident, and write it out to this task database. Now this incident will be stored in this task database on the server here. And then the field guy is like, where are my incidents? And this could happen automatically. There's an automatic sync time, so every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, whatever you want to configure it for, this task database can automatically be queried, or it can be a manual step where the dispatcher will call this field guy and tell him, hey, you have an update, and he can click the manual sync button to get the update. So he asks for his incident, and the incident will go back through these mobile services and out to the local client database. He'll do his updates. If he's disconnected, that's fine. They'll all be stored locally on this local client database. And then when he's done, he'll click save, and the changes will automatically be synced up. Again, you could also manually send them by clicking sync. So the changes to this incident are, again, go through the mobile services and are written to the task database, and then the mobile services and data services will automatically pick up that there's a change and display this information back to the dispatcher. And this could happen once during the field guy updating the incident or multiple times. It's really just based on the workflow that you have set up. So the two databases that we have involved is the task database, that's kind of the piece on the server side that is with those mobile services, and this has to be a SQL 2008 database to take advantage of change tracking so that we are only sending the minimal amount of information between the server and the field. And then there's a SQL Compact 3.5 database on the client. So this is a pretty small database. It's created automatically. There's really no configuration you need to do for this local client database. And for the task database, you just need to install SQL Express 2008, or if you already have a license for SQL Server 2008, you can use that. And our installers will create the necessary tables for you. So now these mobile services, there's actually two of them involved. There's the mobile service, and this acts as the interface between data services and the task database. And then there's the sync service that acts as the interface between the task database and the local client database. So each of these services is keeping track and knows when there are changes made either in data services or the task database or the local client database, so that only these changes are being written in between. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of how to configure this now in Mobile Responder. So this is the actual Responder mobile application, and we have an application settings screen, which is this option, toolbar option down at the bottom here. And we have styling, so we have some animations in there that will transition from, say, the home screen to the settings screen, but you can turn those off if you like. We also have the option to customize what you want the application to look for. If you're working at night, say, you can change it to the night screen, and the application will update. The default is blue. And you can also add your own custom styles here if you would like. Next, on our task service, this is the sync delay. This refers to the amount of time that happens between those automatic syncs. This web service URL is the URL to the sync service. You can see that it's a required field, and I haven't filled it out, so validation will automatically occur for me. We also provide options to use authentication. You could use Windows or Basic or none, and save that off so that your sync service will be secured. And finally, we have the map settings. We have a map server path. This refers to your ArcGIS server path that is mobile enabled. And then we also have our local map cache path, and this is where the ArcGIS mobile map data will be stored locally on the client machine. And we have an option to browse for that. And all of these settings, as you saw with this on this task service screen, we provide validation, so there's absolutely no way to save an invalid configuration file. So you might be asking yourself, that's great that you provide the settings screen for me to configure it for my users, or my users to configure it themselves, but what if I want to deploy this to all of my users at once? Is there a way to just configure it once and deploy that? And the answer is yes, and you can do that by using Click Once. Click Once is Microsoft technology that's included with the .NET Framework tools, and it can be configured using this tool called Mage. So what to do is you use our installer to get all of the executables, all of the assemblies, and the config file, etc. You create any customizations that you want. You then configure the application for mobile users using that settings screen that we provide, and that will update the configuration file. You can optionally create any mobile map data you want, and then you can deploy all of that to the mobile users via Click Once. And you can find more information on Click Once just by Googling it or looking it up on the Microsoft website. But what this provides is that you really only have to configure the application once, make sure those settings are all valid, and then send it out to your users. And that's a really quick overview of how to configure Mobile Responder. Thanks.